Most people think love is loud. They expect constant messages, obvious affection, dramatic gestures, and non-stop reassurance. So when those things slow down or change, panic sets in. The truth is, deep love often moves in the opposite direction of what we've been taught to expect. It gets quieter, subtler, and easier to misunderstand. That's why so many people walk away from something real convinced it's fading when it's actually growing roots. What complicates this even more is that emotional attachment doesn't always look romantic on the surface. When someone truly loves you, their nervous system starts to treat you as safe. Safety doesn't need performance. It doesn't need constant proof. It doesn't shout. It settles. And if you don't understand that shift, you can misread closeness as distance. One of the first changes that shows up is how much of herself she allows you to see. Not the polished version, not the social version, but the unfiltered one. She lets you witness the tired mornings, the frustration, the messy emotions she doesn't curate for the outside world. This isn't laziness or loss of interest, it's trust. From a psychological perspective, this happens when the brain no longer feels the need to impress to secure attachment. Her system believes you're staying, so the mask comes off. But here's the part most people miss. While she's open about her flaws, there's something she becomes unusually quiet about. She stops talking about other romantic options altogether. Not because she's hiding something, but because her attention has narrowed. When attachment deepens, the brain naturally reduces interest in alternatives. It's a focus response. Her emotional energy is invested in one place and everything else fades into the background. This can be confusing if you're used to thinking love means transparency about everything. But in this case, the absence is the signal. When someone is emotionally bonded, they don't feel the need to scan the room anymore. Their mind has already chosen. If she's sharing her struggles, her fears, her unflattering moments, yet never brings up other men, never compares, never hints at options, that's not secrecy. That's emotional exclusivity. Another powerful shift happens in places you're not present. When love is deep, she becomes protective of the connection itself. This shows up as quiet loyalty. She defends your character in conversations you'll never hear. If someone questions your intentions, your decisions, or your worth, she doesn't stay neutral. She speaks up, even when she's annoyed with you, even when you've made a mistake. This isn't about pretending you're perfect. It's about preserving the emotional bond. From a relational psychology standpoint, partners in secure attachment often see criticism from outsiders as a threat to the relationship's stability. Defending you is her way of defending what you share. It's not blind agreement. It's boundary setting on behalf of the relationship. You can often tell this is happening by how people treat you around her. If friends or family members seem careful with their words when she's present, that didn't happen by accident. It means she's already made it clear, directly or indirectly, that disrespect isn't welcome. Many people never realize this kind of loyalty exists because it happens off stage. But it's one of the strongest indicators that someone is emotionally invested for the long term. What matters here is not perfection, constant passion, or dramatic proof. What matters is safety, focus, and protection. These are not the flashy signs people post about, but they are the signs that last. When you understand them, you stop chasing reassurance and start recognizing stability. And that shift alone can change how you show up, how you respond, and whether the connection continues to grow or slowly breaks under misunderstanding. This is only the beginning. As attachment deepens further, her mind starts doing something else that most people underestimate, and it shapes how she remembers you, anticipates you, and even challenges you. That's where the next layer reveals itself. As love deepens, something subtle but powerful begins to happen in the way her mind works. She starts holding on to details you barely remember sharing. Small comments, passing frustrations, childhood stories you mentioned once and forgot. They don't disappear for her. They get stored. This isn't effort in the conscious sense. It's prioritization. When emotional attachment forms, the brain tags information related to that person as important for survival and connection. From a neurological point of view, memory is closely tied to emotion. When someone matters deeply, the hippocampus and emotional centers of the brain work together to reinforce recall. That's why she remembers how you take your coffee, the tone of your voice when you're stressed, the things that motivate you, and the things that shut you down. She's not collecting facts for show. She's building understanding. This is also why she sometimes surprises you during difficult conversations. She connects patterns you didn't notice. She remembers what you said months ago and brings it back into the present. To someone who doesn't understand attachment, this can feel uncomfortable or even threatening. But it's not about control, it's about investment. She's paying attention because you matter enough to study. When people don't care, they forget. They don't notice changes. They don't track emotional shifts. Deep love does the opposite. It sharpens awareness. And yes, that awareness can surface during conflict. Not because she wants to hurt you, but because she wants to be understood and wants to understand you in return. She's trying to resolve, not dominate. Then there's a behavior that causes more confusion than almost any other. The moment when words slow down, conversations become less urgent. Silence starts appearing between you. Many people misread this as boredom or emotional withdrawal. In reality, this kind of silence often signals the opposite. When someone feels emotionally safe, their nervous system relaxes. They don't feel pressure to perform, entertain, or constantly prove connection. They can simply exist near you. This is regulated closeness. You can sit together without filling every moment, and it doesn't feel empty. It feels calm. What matters here is not the absence of words, but the presence of comfort. Her body language tells the real story. She stays physically oriented toward you. She remains close. There's no tension, no emotional distance, no sense of avoidance. She's not pulling away, she's resting. This kind of quiet connection is common in long-term emotional bonds. It's the same reason close family members or lifelong friends don't need constant conversation to feel connected. The bond itself carries the interaction. When you mistake this for loss of interest and react with insecurity or pressure, that's when problems start. You disrupt a stable moment by trying to force intensity where calm is needed. Understanding this shift is critical because when you respond with patience instead of panic, you reinforce safety. And safety is what allows love to deepen further. That safety then begins to influence bigger life decisions, often without a single dramatic conversation. And that's where the next change quietly begins to take shape. As emotional attachment strengthens, her sense of the future begins to adjust almost automatically. This doesn't happen as a dramatic announcement or a demand. It happens quietly in the background of her thinking. When she considers opportunities, changes, or long-term plans, you're already part of the equation. Not because she's giving up her independence, but because her brain now treats the connection as something stable and worth protecting. From a psychological health perspective, this is called integration. It's a sign that her emotional world has made room for you in a permanent way. She checks your schedule before committing to plans. She thinks about distance, timing, and impact. This isn't control and it's not dependency, it's coordination. Healthy attachment looks like two lives slowly learning how to move in rhythm without losing their own direction. Another shift shows up during conflict, and this is where many relationships are either strengthened or quietly damaged. When love is deep, arguments stop being about winning and start being about repair. She may still get upset, she may still bring up difficult topics, but her tone, timing, and intention change. She's not trying to overpower you or score points. She's trying to restore connection. Emotionally invested people argue because they care. They don't disengage at the first sign of discomfort. At the same time, they're more sensitive to signs of abandonment. If she feels that conflict might lead to losing you, she may become calmer, more careful, or more solution-focused than before. This isn't weakness, it's prioritization. Her goal is continuity, not dominance. This is why your response during conflict matters so much. If you treat her vulnerability as manipulation or dismiss her concerns, you confirm her deepest fear. But if you stay present, listen, and work toward understanding, you reinforce the safety that keeps the bond strong. Conflict handled well doesn't weaken love, it deepens it. The final shift is one of emotional alignment. Your experiences begin to affect her mood almost as much as her own. When you succeed, she feels genuine joy. When you struggle, she feels it with you. This isn't about living through you or losing herself. It's empathy at a bonded level. Your emotional states are no longer isolated. From a mental health standpoint, this reflects emotional attunement. It's the ability to resonate with another person's inner world. When this happens, support becomes natural, celebration becomes mutual, pain becomes shared. This is one of the clearest indicators that love has moved beyond attraction and into connection. If you recognize these patterns, the most important thing to understand is this: deep love doesn't need to be chased, tested, or constantly questioned. It needs to be respected, protected, and responded to with emotional maturity. Many relationships don't fail because love wasn't there. They fail because love changed shape and no one recognized it. When you learn to read these quieter signals, you stop reacting out of fear. You stop forcing reassurance. You stop mistaking calm for loss. And in doing so, you create the conditions where emotional health, trust, and long term connection can actually thrive.